We talk all the time at home inspections about how there might be a dark spot over there, it could be mold. There's some mildew in the shower, it might be mold. There's a dark spot in the attic above the bathroom vent, it might be mold. And every home inspector is going to say the same thing. Welcome to my classroom. I'm Chris Collette, the real estate professor. And today I want to talk about something on the buying side, home inspections. A couple of things that tend to come up a lot of times with home inspections nowadays, and what we can kind of do to make an offer more attractive around home inspection. So let's first run through a couple of common things that I've actually seen in home inspections this week that I figure, hey, if you can know about them now, you might be able to do some research, learn a little bit, at least know kind of what to expect, because honestly, these things come up in a lot of homes, and I think a lot of them maybe aren't as big of a deal as you might think. So the first one is GFCIs or GFIs. You might hear both phrases. These are ground fault circuit interrupters or ground fault interrupters. So you know when you go into your bathroom or your kitchen, there's those outlets and they have the reset and the test button on them? Well, those are special types of power outlets. They're designed to be in areas that might get wet, so that if something splashes into the outlet, it might short. And the last thing you want is for that circuit to be completed, like you would when you plug something in. Then all of a sudden there's electricity going through the water, the wall catches on fire, your house burns down. We don't want that. So those outlets that are in kitchens and bathrooms are sort of an extra safety measure, and they are right now in electrical code, which means that if you do a home inspection and you see that the outlets that are in the kitchen or in the bathroom don't have those buttons, it might mean that those aren't the GFI or GFCI outlets. And every home inspector is going to say, these should be the GFI or GFCI outlets. One thing to keep in mind, even if they don't have a button, they might still be the right kind of outlet. It is possible to put a traditional outlet there, but it's actually tied to the circuit at the breaker box. So allow the home inspector to test it. You'll be in good shape. And keep in mind, if they aren't the right types of outlets, most of the time, you can get the right kind. A lot of times you can do it yourself. You could go to Home Depot, do a little bit of research, shut the circuit off, replace it, or most electricians will charge something like $100 an outlet to come to your home, replace it with the correct one. So a lot of times it might seem like a big electrical issue, when it's really only going to cost a few $100 maybe to replace them if you ended up buying the home anyway. Second thing, mold. We talk all the time at home inspections about how there might be a dark spot over there, it could be mold. There's some mildew in the shower, it might be mold. There's a dark spot in the attic above the bathroom vent, it might be mold. And every home inspector is going to say the same thing. I don't know if it's mold because I haven't tested it. Get somebody in here to test whether or not it actually is mold. I want to tell a story. So I listed a home in Shrewsbury. My sellers had lived there for 20 years or so. It was big, beautiful colonial, and it had two bathrooms on the second floor, the master bathroom and the common bathroom for the rest of the bedrooms. Buyer came in, did a home inspection, they went into the attic, and directly above both of the bathrooms were circles about this big of just black mold, just all in the attic, right above, and it was right above the bathrooms. What had happened was when they built the home in the 90s, whoever was in charge, maybe it was the new guy. New guy's supposed to connect the vent to the fan. It was as simple as a duct that goes out of the bathroom into the attic and then out the side of the house. They never connected them. So for 10, 15 years, every time somebody showered or there was steam in the bathrooms upstairs and they turned the fan on in those two bathrooms, it was taking all that hot, humid air and just pumping it straight into the attic, right above the bathrooms. So directly above both bathrooms, in the rafters on the ceiling of the attic, big circles. So you would think, oh my God, there's mold in the attic. We're going to have to get that taken care of. Do I even want to buy the house? The sellers said, we didn't even know that was up there. We haven't been in the attic in a decade. So they called, a company came out, they took a look at it, they quoted it, and they remediated it. They remediated it for a whopping $1,200. So sometimes mold, very bad, don't buy the house. Other times, simple fix. In the world of this home, which was a $630,000 home, a $1,200 repair is something the sellers would absolutely take care of, not a huge issue. So it was cleaned, treated, the bathroom fans were reconnected, so we didn't have to worry about that anymore. Buyers bought the house, and I'm assuming they're still happy in it to this day. Third thing at home inspections, peeling paint. Peeling paint on a wood-sided house is critical, especially if it's an FHA or a VA loan. paint we often think of as decorative, but paint is actually the first line of defense against moisture. So if you have wood siding on your home and water gets through it, you're going to suddenly have water on wood, which could rot, and then that rot could go all the way into the framing of the house. It could be a huge deal. So the thing that we have to do with wood-sided homes is make sure they're always painted. That will be the first way to keep the water out. So FHA and VA loans, these are government-insured loans, and they're loans where the government says, I want to make sure you're buying a house that doesn't have any major issues. Well, a major issue could be rot in the home. Therefore, government doesn't want you to buy houses that have peeling paint. It seems so simple, right? There's a little bit of peeling paint on the porch. Can't buy this house. Why? Because it could turn into a major issue with water damage and rot. Things to keep in mind: keep your house painted if it has wood siding. The fourth thing is roofs. So this comes up a lot. We often talk about roofs when the home inspector says, oh, it's old, might need to be replaced soon. And what I always say is there's really two types of roofs that you really want to keep an eye out for. One, 3-tab roofs. These roofs tend to be older. Most of them have been replaced on most modern homes. And those really only have a lifespan of 15, 20, maybe 25 years. So if it's already 10, 15, 20 years old, it's probably going to have to get replaced soon. The flip side is architectural roofs. In most of New England, these really only started going on homes in the last 10 to 15 years, but they have 20 to 30, or some are even 30, 35, 40-year lives on these roofs. So if your home has one of those, and it was only put on in the last 10 to 15 years, almost without a doubt, you're good to go. So what we do when we shop for homes is we look at them and we say, is it the old type of roof or the new type of roof? If it's the old, it's probably going to have to get replaced soon. If it's the new, you're probably good to go for at least a decade or two. So simple things to think about when looking at roofs in Massachusetts and in New England in general. This is all to say that when you're writing an offer, you're going to find little things here or there. Some big things, like a new roof, some small things, like an outlet in the kitchen. When I write offers with my clients, oftentimes I say things like this. The buyer is willing to buy the home, no matter what's wrong with it, unless all of those repairs total more than $5,000, more than $10,000. I'm sure if you're going out and buying a home, you're thinking, it's not going to be perfect. I'll move in and I'll fix some stuff over the first couple of years while I live there. If you can make the seller know that you're okay with taking some minor things, that you won't try to sort of nickel and dime them over minor items, the seller is much more likely to take your offer. And in this market, every advantage we can get as a buyer is going to be a big advantage. So if you're thinking about buying a home somewhere in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, reach out to me. I'm Chris Collette, the real estate professor, and I'll see you next week.